Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from Mail Fuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me for episode 102, Matt's here.
I'm back.
Oh, that's right, you were gone last week, huh?
Yeah, I'm tired.
Also, let me take a drink of my beverage before I have to do anything else. This is more important than anything else that's coming next.
Also joining us is Connor.
Matt, god damn it!
Yeah, I'm here.
How dare you step in like that? How dare you?
You know.
So we talk about comic books on this show. DC comic books. Coming up this week, we have DC Nation issue 0, which is the essentially the free comic day issue, even though it's 25 cents and it came out a few days earlier. But that's essentially what it is, and it's previewing.
It's free digitally.
Yeah, it's free digitally, yeah. And it's previewing the upcoming Batman When stuff, it's previewing Bendis' Man of Steel, and it's previewing No Justice, which is starting next week. So it's previewing all these big DC things that are happening. So we're going to talk about that.
Prelude.
Yeah. And we got Batman 46, Action Comics Special number 1, Green Lanterns 46, Nightwing 44, Green Arrow 40, and Deathstroke 31. So it's actually quite a quiet week in terms of the quantity of books, although I've got a feeling DC Nation might actually give us a good 30 minutes of discussion on its own. So that's the plan for today's show, episode 102.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Big stuff starts proper next week.
Big stuff. Yeah, No Justice starts proper next week, but we get a tease of it this week. How's the heat over there, Connor? The sun looks less bright than it did a few minutes ago. You surviving?
Yeah, I think there's just behind a cloud. It's still stupidly warm.
That's a shame.
I'm still suffering.
He's melting.
Pretty much.
No Red Hood this week. Are you starting that next week? Your month of Red Hood?
Yeah, next week. I'm doing it with along with No Justice because it's a 5-week month.
All right, so you're getting 4 weeks in a row of Red Hood and the Outlaws from Connor, so you can look forward to that as well. So before we get into the books, there is just a couple of little tidbits of news. There was one that was big at first, and then it became little news after the panic died down, and that was that we'd heard from a less than reputable source that Doomsday Clock had been pushed a month, and that July's issue had been pushed to August, so the next 2 issues were getting pushed a month each. It turned out that, because they got this from, it was like DC's website, their schedule just happened to have it in these places, and then it was just later on the same day, Jeff Johns and co came out and said, no, that's just a mistake, don't worry. It turns out it was pushed slightly, it's been pushed a week. It was meant to be week 4 this month, it's actually going to be week 5, but not a big deal. So
yeah, can live a week.
Yeah, panic
whole
stations.
Month's delay was painful.
Yeah, panic stations do not have to be manned. We're okay. We're okay.
Yeah, some shoddy journalism.
So Connor, what's going to keep you busy on week 5 then that you won't be here?
I don't know. I am a little concerned because I don't know. Something could happen.
Another trip to the mall.
Please don't.
Oh my god. So that was the thing, and I should at least briefly mention the announcement of a Swamp Thing TV show, along with all the logos for all the DC Universe shows, which is their streaming service that's coming some point later this year.
It's pretty cool. They got everyone with a contract at DC to tweet about it.
Yeah, very curious. I'm actually really pumped for a Swamp Thing TV show. It's a live action show, of course, because obviously some of the shows I've announced have been animated, some have been live action. Obviously Titans and Young Justice Season 3 are coming first, but so I think Swamp Thing's a really good pick. It's really different, because I feel like when they announced Metropolis, it's like, okay, a Superman prequel, we've not seen that before, right? And
Never.
So I think Swamp Thing's a nice
Interestingly,
pick.
because we got the first 3 logos with the announcement. We got Titans, Young Justice, and Harley Quinn. And then we got reports of a Swamp Thing show. And then DC kind of updated a little bit later. Went, all right, fine, cat's out of the bag. Here's the logo.
Oh, I have more on this. They officially delayed Metropolis.
Did they?
That was a new story that had been delayed. It's actually further back in development now compared to everything else.
That's fine.
Curses.
What a shame. What a shame. Although that said, Krypton ended up being pretty good so far, so I mean, who am I to judge?
Yeah, Krypton's... Yeah, but this is from the people who make Gotham, so...
This is true.
Krypton isn't.
Yes, this is very, very true. Although that said, Goyer was attached to Krypton at one point. I don't know how much he's actually involved in it now, but...
He was also attached to the Dark Knight trilogy, so,
This is true.
Yeah, that's like 2.5 good movies, so...
It's like 3 good movies. It's 3 movies that are all much better than The Last Jedi, so we can leave it there.
No way. I will. No.
No.
Last Jedi is far more entertaining than Dark Knight Rises.
No way. Not even close.
Yes way.
They are. And Dark Knight Rises is a coherent, structured film.
Depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not my fault some idiots think it's bad, alright? It's not my fault.
I like Dark Knight Rises, but I like Last Jedi.
I like the first half of it, and then the last, 10 minutes. But...
Nah, all three of them are better than Last Jedi. Admittedly, I like all three of them probably more than most Star Wars movies, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
You like all three of them more than just most movies in general?
No, that's not true.
I don't think that's true, no.
Most. Given the quantity of movies in existence, I think that is a factual statement.
Okay, sure, but there is a reasonable number of movies that I'd rank higher than them.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
His highest ranked movie is Paris, Texas. Right? So,
Well, one of. That's one of. It's
Yeah.
not the highest.
But are you putting any three of the Nolan Batman movies above Paris, Texas?
No.
There you go. That's my point.
Sure, but that's one. That's not most. Look, we're not here. We can do that when we do a top film list eventually.
Hey, I'll tell you where Last Jedi's appearing in my top film list.
The number 3.
Dishonourable mentions at the start. Here's things that were not considered in any way, shape, or form.
That was a really close stab from me and Matt there.
Well, and it shows you how we view the movie, that I went with the lower number, and Connor clearly, because he can't...
Do you know what I loved about that? If you actually convert that into you physically trying to stab me, your knives actually hit each other and I don't get stabbed. And, it just, oh, I'm fine. You two are just, hitting each other with your knives. I'm good.
Oh, there's always another attempt.
well, I'm coy. Well,
I don't know if you know this, but my personality is not that of an edged weapon. It's of a blunt object. So,
Okay, fine. Connor's knife is now just wedged in your blunt object.
There you go.
So there's a baseball bat with a knife just dangling off the end of it.
All I'm viewing us now is us attacking you to the Benny Hill music.
Oh dear.
This is what happens when there's no news, guys. Just enjoy it.
I know.
Enjoy
We can ramble a bit when there's not been a lot of news. This is nice. It's nice.
I did like all the logos for these shows. Though.
I did. Titans was a new logo because it doesn't look anything like the traditional Titans.
No, it's kind of this graffiti-ish blue.
Whereas Swamp Thing is more of a traditional looking Swamp Thing logo.
I will say it has a hand coming up in the A, and it's very zombie cliche.
Okay. Well, he's a plant zombie.
Visually, it's fine. Just from a visual of the logo, that's something I associate with zombie things.
Do you guys? Connor might be too young to remember it, but Pete, do you remember the Swamp Thing animated series?
I never watched it, but yeah, I'm aware of its existence.
Yeah.
I knew more about that than I did the live action show that was on USA Network for 3 seasons.
Wait, I'm sure we talked about this, but that's new to me too.
Yeah, because we were looking. It was when we were doing. We were planning the off-season content for television for the multiverse. Right. Okay, the new shows aren't on. Let's do some old content, and we're doing Lois and Clark and stuff when we're in the off-season. And we looked at what other shows have they got in the vault that we can whip out for when there's nothing else on, and we discovered a 3-season Swamp Thing show on USA Network from the early 90s, and we never had an idea this existed.
Man, was Craven at all involved in that?
I don't think so.
No. Huh.
This was 10 years removed from his atrocity of a film.
Yeah, man.
It's so weird that exists, and just no one talks about it ever.
No.
No one even really likes to talk about the movie either, because the movie's not good.
No, my main stuff came from the cartoon as a kid. I remember watching it. I feel like it was on Fox Saturday morning.
Yeah, I think
could be completely off.
Yeah, for me, Swamp Thing wasn't a thing till the comics. I discovered Swamp Thing in the comics. I assume he showed up in something, and then I went, oh, I'll try some of Swamp Thing's stuff.
I just know I had a dope action figure where his arm would shoot off and it was attached to a rope, and you'd squeeze his legs and it would drop back in. But of course, me being me, I broke it within 4 days. And it was just this noodle arm. So
we got episode titles for Titans as well.
I did not see this. What was the titles?
Are we going to stop complaining about the look of Starfire? Because I'm over it.
Yeah, those set photos did look bad. However, here's the thing. Set photos always look bad. I mean,
Yeah.
for all we know, that's not even the permanent look. That could be like a one-scene thing where they're trying to blend in with the crowd or something. I don't know.
And that's fine. I'm so sick of seeing the people complain about it, and it goes to everything. Like Apocalypse and X-Men Apocalypse, when those first came out, people were like, how come a cosplayer can look better? Well, a cosplayer doesn't have to do stuff for screen, guys. So
yeah.
Let's.
I'm just saying, wait for a trailer. Let's see how it actually looks in context.
That's the thing, because the official photos they've put out have looked pretty good. So
they have, yeah.
I'm holding off judgment.
That Robin.
I can't believe we're getting a Titans TV show. Like, can we just bask in that for a minute?
Yeah, because the Robin and Hawk and Dove photos they put out look great. So let's wait and see the actual lit images with.
I've got the episode titles here. They gave us 9 out of the 13.
Okay.
So
first 9, I assume?
one is yeah. Titans, just the pilot.
Okay.
Then Hawk and Dove. 3 is Starfire. 4 is Rachel. 5 is the Doom Patrol.
Ooh.
6 is the Messenger. I'm going to skip 7 for a moment because that's the big one that I want to hold off.
Okay.
8 is Angela. 9 is Donna Troy.
Cool.
7 is Jason Todd. Yeah.
Yo, if they go Red Hood and he's a thorn in their side, like, that could work. Jason Todd inherently is not. Okay,
sure.
He is inherently bad.
I can see that working. I can see that working since we're in Titans time though. I could also see them going that he's not Red Hood yet. He could be like this young renegade Robin.
Well, I mean, Dick's not Nightwing.
So it would be weird if he was already Red Hood. Yeah. So
what I'm saying,
if anything, that tells me that by episode 7, Dick's Nightwing.
Yeah.
And that's why Jason Todd exists as Robin. But by then,
maybe, yeah.
Huh? I don't know. Yeah, just a thought.
But I saw that and went, oh god.
Who's Angela? I don't.
She was a character on The Office, Matt.
Yeah. Well, also I was going. Yeah. So my first thing is all the Neil Gaiman stuff from Spawn, but I was like, that's the wrong universe.
Yeah. Marvel owns her now.
Yeah. So that one's weird. Rachel's clearly Raven.
That's what you
Doom
think.
Patrol I like.
That's what you think. It's set in the Friends universe. It's
Yeah, fine by me. And more Jennifer Aniston, I'm fine with. But Doom Patrol, you think we're getting the full patrol, or we're just getting?
Oh, they said we're doing a Doom Patrol thing, didn't they?
Yeah, they were casting all the characters. So
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, are we gonna get full like Robot Man, or is it gonna be like, actor playing Robot Man type deal? Because if they go full go and like use their budget up on that one episode, I'm kind of okay with that.
I think you'll get Robot Man. I think it's happening.
Yeah, I think because they're only in it for the one episode, I assume.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll show up again at the end or in the future.
I'll tell you what I like about those titles. I like that it seems that each character is getting like a focus. I imagine Dick will be the focus of the first episode because he'll be like the one bringing them together, maybe. And then you get an episode focus on Starfire, episode focus on Raven, and so on.
Yeah.
Hawk and Dove.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a nice touch. So, who knows? Hopefully it'll be good. I'm hopeful. So, the Titans.
Yeah, me too.
So, I guess do we got any books then? Do you want to get into it?
Yeah. Any other news? Everything?
Don't think so.
Cool.
I mean, was this last week that Tom King said he was writing some of the fallout from Flash War? Did we talk about that last week?
We spoke about that last week.
Okay. Fine. In that case, no, there's nothing else. Nothing else. Well, I mean, Sam Humphries is hosting some sort of weird DC fictional game show thing. But other than that.
Yeah, that first episode set me into a rage, so...
Were they all Batman fanboys?
No, it's just I don't care about the Batman vs Superman fight anymore.
Like, I don't care about any of it. Honestly, the concept of this show where it's about who would win in a fight, I'm like... This is like 12-year-olds talking about superheroes. I don't...
Yeah, but there is a way to do it and where you can compare their cultural impact and whatnot, right? Like, but if you're just doing like, who's going to win in a fight? Superman punches real hard. Batman, is he smart? I don't care. Like...
Yeah, I don't get it. I critique Humphries on this because the day before he said, "Oh, I'm starting something really exciting tomorrow," and I assumed he meant he was going to start writing a new book we wouldn't find out about for a while. And then this announcement comes out, and I'm like, "You know what? That wasn't that exciting, Sam. Calm down."
What even
Depends who you ask, I guess.
So hey, but anyway, so we'll move on. We'll start talking about books. So we're on DC Nation issue 0. Got 3 stories in here. The first one by Tom King and Clay Mann. Of course, this is the one that's tying into Batman. And the concept of this is that Joker has found out about Batman and Catwoman's wedding, and he has taken over some random guy's house, thinking that he is going to get an invitation through the mail at this house. So he's holding this poor man hostage as he waits for the mail, and the man is worried that he's going to be killed. All while telling some glorious dad jokes with some fantastic, I'll call it eye-popping art from Clay Mann. After he makes the jokes.
Creepy Joker.
His Joker is pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
It is. I never learned the alphabet. I don't know why. That cracked me up.
All I could think of was Phil Dunphy from Modern Family.
Yeah.
The one that got me is, did you hear the one about the letter that didn't have a stamp? You wouldn't get it. It's his face afterwards, where he just stares, going, "Come on, laugh."
You know what?
Yeah.
So here's my thing on this one. This was a really good story, and it was super tense, and I liked that.
And the ending's dark as shit. Joker just kills him.
Yeah, because that's what he does when he's happy.
We're in proper evil psychotic Joker territory.
Yeah.
My favourite kind of Joker, might I add.
So here's what I'm confused about. So how did people know about Batman and Catwoman? I get the Justice League, right?
Yeah.
Knowing. But as of this point, it would just be Bruce and Selina getting married.
Yes. Well,
right?
I'm assuming, because this is going to be continued in Batman 48, and that's going to be like more of this stuff leading up to the wedding. I assume we'll get maybe some information as to why anyone knows Batman is getting married. I assume that's something that's going to be brought up.
Ivy knows, right?
No.
From that arc, would she not know?
I can't remember if it got brought up to her.
That arc was all kind of a fever dream. And I think that's the design of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I assume we'll get some sort of this is how word gets out to the rogue gallery of Gotham that Batman is getting hitched.
Yeah.
Somehow that'll come out.
If they don't do that though, I kind of like that it's Joker caring more about Batman than who Batman is. So however he interprets it, or whatever. But I like that twist because it wasn't until after I read it that I started thinking, wait a minute, he's a Batman and Catwoman, not Bruce and Selina.
Yeah.
So.
And he shouldn't know who Bruce and Selina are because he doesn't know their identities. So that makes sense.
Exactly. So that's why
as far as we know.
As far as we know, yes.
In the moment, I was just like, "Oh yeah, I know this story is rightfully creepy." But the more I thought about it, going, that's an interesting wrinkle. So, and I trust in King. King's earned my trust in, not like, oh, well, that was sloppy, because I've read some people say that, this was just kind of a unnecessary tease.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is a tease that's standalone. I don't think it has to be explained how he knows yet. I assume we'll get that somehow when we hit 48 and 49, and we get that 2-part story before the wedding. I think
this is a really tight, short story of just this is a day in the Joker, for the life of the Joker. Just okay, here's one morning what the Joker did. Yeah,
and you hear the guy talking about his daughter, and at the end, he says, "Oh, I got the invitation." Then he shoots him, and then you see the last panel. You see the letter. It's actually just it's a letter from her school, the daughter's school, about her being late, and it's like, okay,
because you kind of his whole thing is, the guy's going, why would he send an invitation here? Why today? And he's like, well, I mean, he's got to send one somewhere, sometime. Why not here? Why not today?
Yeah.
And then when something comes through, it's like, wait, really? What's going on?
Even the guy's like, oh, weird. Because it looks like an official stamp, there's a seal on the letter. And I also like that the guy does try to defend himself from Joker and gets his gun, but it ends up being one of his
bang guns,
his flag.
His joke
and you're just like, oh no.
It was a real good effort though.
Yeah, it was good effort. And at one point, he just kind of snaps. He's like, "Batman's not getting married, and even if he was, he wouldn't send you an invite, and he certainly wouldn't send it here. There's so much wrong with your plan."
I love that. After he does that, that's when you get the the alphabet joke, and the guy just screams and walks off. He's like, "No, I can't take this."
King's Joker, from even in War Jokes and Riddles, we had his introduction in that house. Like it's almost like a David Fincher villain. You know, like he's all atmosphere and just he gives me the creeps.
Yeah, no, I love this first story. I think it's nailing the type of crazy Joker I like. It's exciting because it's building to the way, and it's building to Joker's interaction with it in some way. And I am curious as to how much, like, because obviously issue 50 is a big issue. In fact, we heard this week that there's going to be 21 artists on the book. You know, I know. It's 50 pages, and King said, yeah, there's 21 artists. I'm assuming it's one main artist, and then there'll be like 20 like standalone pages that are flashbacks or something. I assume it'll be like one of them's making a speech, or maybe both of them make a speech at the wedding, and as they're doing their speech, you'll get like all these splash pages of their history from different artists. I'm assuming that's what's
kind of like that issue that we just had where they went through their relationship, and you saw the different eras.
Kinda, yeah.
And that was
I'm
different artists,
kind of like in the in Action 1000, the Gleason thing.
Yeah, like that, but every page is a different artist, basically.
Instead of just
when someone asked him about that, he goes, "Yeah, I'm kind of crazy." That was King's kind of response. Was like, "There's no reason for this other than why not." So man, he's really climbing those ranks.
Oh yeah,
as a fan favorite.
I mean, this is already a huge run. We're hitting issue 50. And he's claiming he's got 100 in him. He's like, I'm going to 100. This is halfway.
And that's good. And so now it's drawing comparisons because the issue number's about where Snyder was. So the content's there. And I put this over Snyder's run because while Snyder had some really cool ups, this has been more consistent. There's only one arc of here I don't like actively. The rest of it, I think, is an all-timer. But compared to Snyder's, where I feel like it's way more hit and miss.
Yeah, I think I might like the Black Mirror, which is not even really part of Snyder's run, because that's like, that's Dick Grayson Batman. That's like a different character. I think I like Black Mirror maybe more than any of the individual stories in King's run, but as a run compared to his New 52 run, I do think I like King's run more, and I'm still excited about the rest of it. So
Yep.
I think I'm torn because I think this run's definitely more consistent, barring a couple of points where I actively dislike. But I think I like the ideas that are at play in the Snyder's run more. Like just the concepts that it's dealing with. I think I like those
I'd maybe agree until those last like 12 issues with the robot Batman thing. With Gordon
even that, I like the concept. I like the idea of what he's poking at. I like what I'm not saying it's as well executed, but I like the concept.
Snyder's a really good idea, man. I just feel like not that he got tired of it, but he just kind of ran out of steam there towards the end.
Honestly, I actually think he's better suited to Justice League, and we'll more on that in a bit, but I feel like because he's doing these big, crazy, ridiculous ideas, I think that actually works better when it's the entire Justice League and not just Batman.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about that. I'll save that. We'll
get the other bit. So have we wrapped up on the Batman story then?
No, we're good. Art was great.
Art's fantastic. Yeah, man, killing it.
Mann and George Ballard are a great team, and I think it shows the contrast of just a couple of weeks ago we got their story in the Action 1000, all the bright, gorgeous colors, and then it's so bleak and
it's so different.
Ordinary.
I want to see how King's gonna mess up something in this one, like he drew the face on the Elmer Fudd. Like he's gonna find a way to do something goofy.
Actually, that was the best response on Twitter when he said there was 21 artists. Someone said, "Is one of them you?" You get to the last page as a stick figure saying, "I love you, Selena."
Oh my god!
I kind of want that to be there just for the joke.
I'll be honest. I think there's a market for like a joke book where he redoes an issue of his own run, but him just doing stick figures for all the panels.
Oh, I'd read the hell out of that.
Just for once. I mean, you couldn't read a whole arc like that, but I'd read one joke issue like that.
Yeah.
Just the one issue of him going into Santa Prisca. So the one issue.
I want his own interpretation of Batman 50. The full thing.
All 50 pages of it.
King edition.
Good Lord. You're a masochist.
Oh dear.
I just want to see how he differentiates between all the other guests.
Also, can I point out, he said that was 50 pages, which for $5 is actually pretty reasonable.
It's reasonable, yeah.
Think about what normally costs 3 or 4. That's pretty good.
Hey, think about what you get for $5 for an issue 1 of the other company.
Oh, shots fired! Across the bow.
Not unearned though. Well, yeah, because Action Comics special was $5, and it you know, I feel like, was it 50 pages? I'm not sure. But there was 3 stories.
Well, I think it was, but there's something to critique with the last story in that one. More on that when we get to it. So, anyway, so the next story in this then, we have the Bendis Superman story with Jose Luis Garcia-Lopez on the art. And this, of course, and Joe, I liked about this in comparison to the other one in Action 1000. I felt like the Action 1000 one was like, here's kind of what Superman's going to be like, and this one is more like, here's what Action Comics is going to be like, because this is the Daily Planet stuff. So I like I like that he specifically picked the different element to showcase here. You know, regardless of what you feel about the story is and how the dialogue is and so on, I think you can appreciate that he's picked a different element of Superman's world.
That's what he did with X-Men. Uncanny was Scott Summers' team. And then All New was the Time to Space team. So while they were both X-Men books, each of them had their own point of view. And if, you know, this is a taste of what we're getting, then awesome.
Now, of course, everyone's waiting with bated breath to hear how much Connor hated it. But more on that in a second. I think what I will say positively, before anything else, is that I think Bendis was born to write Perry White. I think Perry's... I said this to Matt the other day, but I could almost hear Lane Smith from Lois and Clark just saying the dialogue.
So I woke up and this was the first thing I read. Like I skipped past.
Of course you did.
The story. Yeah, it's on Superman. It's like, you know. So, and as I'm sitting there in the morning eating my oatmeal, I'm just going, no. He needs to say "Great Ghost of Elvis." Like that's all I need.
Great Shades of Elvis, I believe.
Great Shades of Elvis. That's right. It's Great Ghost of Caesar and the Silver Age. So, but yeah, just him. It was perfect. The voices,
because there's a moment where Clark comes back out of Daily Planet, he's like, oh, I was researching this, and he says like a bunch of things about extortion and whatnot, and Perry just leans in and goes, oh, all those words sound really sexy, Clark, give it to me. Come on. He's being the newspaper man, and that was like, and you know, he's given like a speech almost for like 3 pages, just Perry talking to the newsroom, talking to Clark about everything, and it just all that was flowing really well.
It feels throwback but also modern in that weird way, because the newspaper industry isn't the same as it was, but deep down in its DNA it still is. So like,
well, I like that because there's a new character, Good, who actually says it's like he comes to work every day from 1945. That was a fun little joke. It's like, he's old school. Yeah.
So I like that because there's always a thing of Clark and Lois working at the Daily Planet, to where it's like, well, newspapers really aren't a thing anymore, but Metropolis is one of the top, you know, cities in America. It would still have a major newspaper. So I like that they go, you know, we're like the last bastion of free press. That was kind of Perry's thing. So, and he even name drops the Gotham Gazette, which, you know, it just sets a tone in a connected world.
Yeah, and then the new person, Good, comes from Star City.
Yeah.
One of their papers. So, you know, they're setting up the mythology of all the newspaper offices and the DCU.
It's kind of what I've always wanted, but with sports teams. Like, I always wanted DC to make, like, hats based off of the different, like, a Gotham Knights hat or a Metropolis Meteors, you know, and because it makes it feel like an actual city. Because, you know, Marvel always had they were all in New York, or they were all in you know, basically
real cities.
This world.
Yeah.
Versus DC, which they were always, you know, these representations of, you know, Central's kind of that Midwesty Chicago, or Minneapolis, St. Paul with the Twin City thing, and Metropolis is a version of New York or Boston and whatnot. So I do like when they flesh it out like this.
Yeah, Gotham's more Chicago and so on. Yeah, you get all those
I always like the one where Metropolis and Gotham are both New York, but one's in day, one's in night.
I like that. Yeah. I've often sometimes seen Metropolis as kind of Washington DC-ish as well at times, depending on how they show it.
The kind of bright, shiny city. That's why I said kind of like Boston, New York, and
because sometimes I do feel like Gotham is very New Yorky as well. Like, especially if you're thinking of like the 80s grimy New York, I'm like, okay, this is very Gotham-y.
I feel like it's more like Brooklyn and the Bronx, and you know, versus Metropolis, which is, you know, Manhattan with the big skyline and
So right, obviously I want to tackle the Lois stuff here, right? And I want to do this because I know Connor's about to jump in and say a bunch of things, and I know Matt is terrified and worried and sweating.
I'm not jumping in. I'm very restrained, thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, but very quiet so far, actually.
The vein in your forehead's popping out.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't have a vein in my forehead.
I feel like he keeps looking down. I think
popped.
he's looking at his issue, just looking for, okay, here's what I'm going to complain about. Here's all the things I'm going to bring up. And
I'm just trying to... you're saying all these things, and I'm like rereading it going, I just don't see it. I mean, to me, this is a very... there's a lot of... No, like, it's a lot of dialogue, and to me, it doesn't flow. I don't read it that I think it reads that well for me, and that is my core problem with Bendis. It's not his ideas, it's not anything like that. It's just I don't think it flows when I read it.
I feel if you have a problem with the dialogue, you have a problem with Bendis, because I feel like this is very Bendis.
This is
to be fair, he's been very upfront about this.
Yeah, exactly. So why hide it right now? Be like, it's not because I don't like Bendis. Well, the dialogue's very Bendis.
It's not like I don't like ideas or anything like that. It's not a concept thing. It's just his writing style doesn't agree with me for whatever reason.
I don't agree with you very much either, to be fair. No, I like his writing style. But on the Lois stuff, I do feel there's a lot of reacting going on to the Lois stuff in here. And here's my thing. I feel like comic fans, to generalize a little bit as a group, there's always an element of comic fans who overreact to things. Like you see it all the time where a solicit comes out for an issue 1 of an arc, and it'll tease like, oh, something bad's going to happen to someone or something, and everyone starts losing their shit because, oh no, we're losing this. And my thing is always, well, no, let the story play out. And to me, because here he's teasing that Lois isn't there anymore, there's references to Lois not working at the planet anymore, and he asks Clark, hey, what went down there? And Clark's like, no, there's nothing to tell Perry, and he's trying to get an answer out of him. To me, this is Bendis teasing, like, okay, you're wondering where Lois is. I want you to wonder where Lois is. I want you to be worried about Lois because I'm going to do a story about this. This is going to come up in the run. Maybe it'll be in Man of Steel. Maybe it won't get resolved till the end of the first arc of Superman or Action. But to me, this is him teasing this is the reason not to worry about it because he's playing with it.
No, and I'm not worried in as much I have a sense of dread because we don't know. I know that seems like it's the same thing. I trust Bendis is going to pull it off. Like, I understand everything you're saying about he's setting the table. I understand all that. But I have a sense of dread of what he's setting the table for because we don't know anything about John. We don't know anything about Lois. Like, everything's been focused on the Man of Steel mini and then this new villain. We know Supergirl's involved somehow, right?
Yep.
But we haven't seen really any of the other supporting cast. So that makes me feel like with this whole fresh start stuff, like he kind of just has a blank slate to do whatever, and that's what gives me the dread.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people are worrying about that. And don't get me wrong, Bendis is, retcon things at Marvel here or there, and that's why people are concerned. I feel like everyone is jumping to conclusions when really everything he's doing to me says, hey, because he's joking about it on Twitter. Like, there was that thing where Super Son's on the cover, like 2 issues ago, it said, oh, Super Son's going to die, and he joked that, oh, every line of dialogue in Man of Steel is that line. Like, he's playing with it. He knows that people are concerned. So
he's such a troll.
I feel like if he was actually going to just erase the marriage and take away John, it wouldn't be playing this way. I don't feel like it would be.
I don't think he's doing that. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's that extreme. But we keep talking about, it's a new status quo. I think there's going to be a focus shift, and we just won't see as much of them, and that's disappointing.
Yeah.
See, I'm not that mad about that. If that's what he wants to do with his run, that's fine. As long as it's still intact and it's still there for other writers to come back to. And
that's like doing a Batman book without Alfred. Like, Lois is kind of Superman's Alfred. That's his confidant.
I don't think he's taking Lois away at all. I think if he's going to focus on the planet, I think Lois is going to be a big fixture of Action Comics. I'm willing to bet you money on that.
I'm less concerned about Lois. I'm more concerned about John because he's a relatively new addition still. It's more not that he's going to be gone. Like, I don't think he's going to be erased from existence. Just more that Bendis doesn't have anything to do with him, so he just kind of sits on the sidelines and isn't really in the books.
Because we know. Well, this is the thing for me. Like, Damien's not been a big deal in the main Batman books for a while. He's been busy doing Super Sons and Teen Titans.
Yeah, but he has a presence, whereas John's only presence right now is in Superman, sometimes in Action, and then.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe that's like opening a door for him to be more present in a couple of other things rather than in Superman itself.
So if I knew that Tomasi has a John book lined up, I think I could rest easier.
it's the same thing that you keep saying with Stephanie Brown after Detective ends. I want her somewhere. I want her somewhere.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
But that's the thing with John. Like, John's not going anywhere after Super Sons is coming to an end. If he's not in Superman, as we're feeling here, at least it feels like he's not in this run in the same way that Damian's not in Batman. Well, it's like, okay, so where is he?
Well, that's the thing, though. I just said, though, Tomasi's hinted that he's not done with the kids. He's still got something planned with them, so we know there's something coming.
Yeah, but what and when is the question.
I'm not so much that. My other thing was the context clues. The way that Perry was talking to Clark, it didn't sound like he was talking about Lois as his wife, but as a colleague.
To me.
This is where we somewhat disagree, because I actually read it as the reason why he's asking Clark what happened is because he would know, because he's her husband.
Right.
See, it sounded more of a professional disagreement to me. More like, okay, what happened between you, like, on that last story? What happened? Where's she gone?
And I guess, here's the genius of Bendis, that you can read it both ways, and they're both correct for right now, because we have no other context.
Which is just there to drive Matt mad, because he doesn't know which one it is.
Yeah. So
Schrodinger's Lois.
Yeah, and so there's also that.
That's quite good.
Schrodinger's reporter. There's also that line where Perry also makes it sound like Lois may not be working for the planet anymore.
Well, if I said she's gone just now.
Yeah, well, yeah, but like the way that he says it, there's a finality to it. It's not like, oh, she's taking a break. Like, do you want to talk about it? It's, we've kept her out of political prisons and kept her out of trouble. What is she going to do now?
It sounds like she's made her own choice, because he says that she's left to go and do her own thing. That's one of the lines. What was the exact line? It was like, she's off to do her own big something. And it kind of gets cut off. Like the Clark's thought bubbles kind of overlap it, and you'll get to see what he says. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not worried. She'll be back, and I think she'll be back fairly quickly in Bendis' run, if not by the end of Man of Steel, because.
Well, she's on the covers of Man of Steel, so we'll know for sure. Whatever.
Yeah, to me, this is just setting up, because he's going to pay it off probably relatively quickly.
You're probably right, but there's that. What if you're wrong? And then
I mean, I could be. And here's the thing: even if I am wrong, I'm still not going to feel like I was wrong to not be jumping to the conclusion right now.
Yeah, but I have a different connection to Lois and Superman, so it's feels a little bit more raw to me. Where I'm just like, I lived through the New 52 where they broke them up for no other reason besides DD01.
Oh sure, I feel like, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but you're really taking the bait, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
I get, I'm a wrestling fan. I get worked all the time. Certain things were happening at WrestleMania that didn't happen. So.
Which is fine, because it means you're into the story a lot. But
exactly.
I feel like because he's teasing it is the reason it's not. You don't have to worry, because he's not teasing it just for the sake of, oh yeah, it is exactly what you're worried about, and there's no payoff to it.
Right.
To me, teasing it means there's confidence, because he knows he's going to give you what you really want eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Matt, you did say to me that you thought it was well written and you enjoyed reading it, despite your worries over Lois. So that's good.
Of course, I'm excited anytime a new writer that's never written Superman. I'm keen to see what they do.
Yeah.
It's bitten me quite a few times, but then again, it also gave us Yang on Superman, which led to New Superman. So,
and we should mention this Miss Good, who is a new hire at the planet, but at the end it seems that she's got some agenda of her own to try and take over the company. So we'll see how that goes. But it's fine. We don't get a lot of her to really tell anything from her. It does seem like she's going to be sticking her nose where it doesn't belong, though, because she almost walks in and Clark flying off the roof at the end. So
yeah,
she's going to be sticking her nose maybe in places. So be interesting. I
like the art.
Oh yeah, that was great. Yeah.
I can say that as a real positive. The page of Clark flying off the roof.
Yeah.
And, that transition is fantastic.
Also, him down in Costa Rica, settling that, and then Clark was supposed to be down there covering it. I liked all that stuff. That felt classic Superman.
Yeah, all the newspaper room stuff was great. I thought. So Man of Steel starts in week 5 this month, so we got 4 weeks, and then we'll be deep into the proper Superman stuff from Bendis, and you can hear our thoughts. You can hear Connor be May on it.
Maybe.
Yeah. Also, the artist Garcia-Lopez, he's one of the all-time greats. Like.
Oh yeah, he's retired. He came out of retirement to do this.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, and a lot of people don't know though that a lot of the merchandise you see with DC characters on it come from his designs. So he did the style guide at DC through the 60s, 70s, 80s. So, you know, Spit Curl Superman, you know, when you picture him, it's usually what you're picturing. Yeah.
It's speaking of nice art. Sorry.
I don't know if I'm going to bother with Man of Steel. Like, maybe the first one, but I'm just at a point where I don't know. We've had an issue's worth of Bendis' stuff now, and my hope before was that, you know, maybe coming over, you know, I've had some time divorced from his stuff before, and, you know, maybe, okay, now it's on Superman, I'll care a bit more, I'll enjoy it, it'll fit a bit more naturally to me, and it's just...
I wanted, for the audio listeners,
like a bit of a chore.
You heard the thing slamming the desk as soon as Connor said that he wasn't maybe going to read Man of Steel, but Matt's hands both went over his face as he tried to contain himself. I just wanted to paint that picture for those listening to this.
That wasn't me. That wasn't me overdoing it. That was a real reaction that I just had to restrain myself from yelling.
I don't believe that. I think the thing is, because I can't say it's objectively this is bad. It's just I don't enjoy reading his style, and I don't know how much I have to offer on that. You know, I can't just say that every issue. So that was, you know, I don't enjoy it. It's not that, oh, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. It's just it doesn't work for me.
Don't worry, Matt. Whilst we're reading Man of Steel, he can be reading more issues of Red Hood, and everyone can be happy. All right.
I feel like you've read more issues of Scott Liddell's Red Hood than you have anything in Bendis.
All right, for the fourth time, I'm going to try and move on to the third story and get us off this before Matt has steam coming out of his ears and Connor's, I don't know, burning from the sun. I don't know what's happening. Anyway, next up, in the same book, of course, we have the No Justice tease. Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, Joshua Williamson, all involved in the writing, and Jorge Jimenez in the art. I'll tell you the first thing this tease does for me. It makes me very glad that Jimenez is on Justice League coming up, because it's beautiful.
Yeah, art's great. Yeah.
It is absolutely beautiful. The story itself, I thought, was the weakest of the three in the book. Not because it was bad per se, just because it didn't really tell a story. It was just, here's the three teams.
Well, that's it. The others are all
four teams. Sorry, yeah, four.
They are teases, right? This is just a, in case you've not been keeping up with the news, these are the teams. Yeah. And a very thin narrative of them just being introduced. That's all this is.
I liked it.
I mean, no, I liked everything that was on the pages. It's just, like, as a story, that wasn't really a story. The only thing that was really exciting in terms of a story was the last 2 pages.
Yeah, but the rest of it, I do like seeing that team come together, and you feel the dynamics of each team and why they're, you know, on the team together. So
see, I don't feel like I got that in this issue, because you get like one double-page spread with each of the teams, right? And then it's I don't really see them working together. I'm not getting any interactions from them really. I'm getting a couple of lines here or there.
You're just upset because Zatanna had no dialogue.
No, genuinely, like when I'm reading this, I'm like, I've got no handle on any of the teams yet. I'm like, okay, these are the characters on the teams, but I don't have any feeling for any of them yet. And I'm sure it'll be fine in the main book.
Yeah, it's just thin. It's also kind of a weird thing, because like with the other two, I can see them both being in the trades. Like, you know, at the start of Man of Steel, you'll get that Bendis story. At the start of the trade with the Joker stuff in it, you'll get that Joker story. I don't know where this fits in the trade for No Justice, because it feels like it's in the middle of the story. So maybe it goes in the middle, but in the middle of the story, if you're reading the trade, are these, like, 8 pages of introducing the teams like this just going to feel weird when you've been reading up until that point? So I don't know.
Here's the difference. The other 2 stories in this felt like, okay, here are some short stories. They're teasers, whatever, but they are stories. This feels like an extended advert. Like, this is just, here's what you're getting. Here's the teams here. Come and read this. It's not. There's no story to it.
It's very pretty.
But I agree with all that, but I think that was the mission statement, because there are people that don't keep up week to week with the news. And so if this is meant to be the Free Comic Book Day issue, this is that preview to get you to come back next week, you know?
Literally next week. Literally next week in this case, yeah. Yeah,
exactly. So I'm okay with all of that. Like, I liked what we saw. Those double-page spreads.
Connor sounds a bit more, I don't want to say angry, but he sounds a bit more miffed at it than I do. I think it is the least of a story out of the 3. But it looks pretty, and you know, I'm hyped for it.
Fine.
I'm hyped for it.
Yeah, no, I feel like I wasted my time reading it a little bit. I don't feel like I got anything out of it really, except the last 2 pages where it's like, okay, there's a tease for anything. And the rest of it, I'm like, I didn't really need to read. I'm just kind of going, okay, and there's a team. Right,
on those last 2 pages, I like those a lot. I like that Green Arrow and Supergirl are kind of holding the fort, like they're protecting Earth while the rest of the teams are off. And Supergirl's being the optimist. And he said, no, the Lee's going to do it, Oliver. Don't worry, like the Lee's going to do this. First of all, because I feel like you've not seen them team up in Rebirth at all. You know,
no.
Not that there's a lot of classic stories with Green Arrow and Supergirl teaming up that I can think of either. No. But and then the big tease, of course, is these big celestial god-looking assholes are there, and Supergirl's like tiny in the panel, and like these are just hulking over the Earth. So you know,
they're clearly celestials. Like,
I got nothing of what either you two just said because you said it at exactly the same time.
Good, Connor, you go first.
I'd say they've got a really cool design to them.
Oh yeah.
And I said they're clearly celestials. So from Marvel, like.
Well, we might as well. They're from beyond the source wall. So that's just what's over there. So that's actually the Marvel universe. It's just over there. So
now the Justice League has to make sure they stay out because we don't want them invading our universe. Exactly. So keep it guarded is basically the thing. No, I mean I'm hyped for No Justice. So I mean it still worked in that sense. But I mean it was the one that was the least an actual story because it was just pages of here's the team. Here's this team. Here's that team.
Just a question. It's just this is not on the book itself now, but I got to the advert at the end for the sneak peek of the new the new age of DC Heroes book.
Oh yeah, not Challengers. Sorry, the Unexpected.
The Unexpected. I'm like, I don't remember hearing about this at all. Like,
no, this is the one that they ruined Supergirl for.
Oh, is that one?
Yep.
Right.
Those are the characters that popped up in Supergirl.
Yeah, but we knew about it before then.
Right.
Oh, I don't remember hearing about
the title itself. It doesn't I don't remember it at all.
Well, we knew about it. It's been talked about on Twitter for months at this point. Like by the time they showed up in Supergirl, I was well aware that The Unexpected was a book that was coming.
See, I was not.
And so that's why as soon as they said, "Oh, catch these characters in The Unexpected," I immediately went, "Oh, that's cheap. Thanks, Orlando."
Yeah.
But hey, no, so we know. But no, we didn't know it was a thing that was coming. It didn't just pop out of nowhere in the last month.
It wasn't the original announcement, though, was it?
I think it either was, and it was kind of like, remember how when Rebirth got announced, and there was like at the end, there was, by the way, there's also like Super Sons, and like there was like a couple of in JLA, but they didn't have like creators attached to them, and they were kind of like add-ons that weren't really in stone yet. I think it may have been kind of like that.
Yeah, I'm just skimming the original announcement back when it was Dark Matter, and it was just at that point it was the Silencer, Sideways, Immortal Men, Damage, New Challenges, and that was it.
But it's not been that recent. We've known about it for months at this point.
Yeah, fair enough. I've just seen this. I'm like, what the hell is this? I don't remember it at all.
Because if nothing else, at least since like April. No, before April. April was just the one that ended. Since like I want to say February, March, I've been seeing Twitter or like on Twitter, like Orlando tweeting about it and stuff. So it got announced somewhere before then.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I'm looking at the next one. So the next update we got after that was Brimstone and the Terrifics. Still no words of this. I'm just like, when did this pop up? Because I feel like I just missed it entirely.
Wait, Terrifics was in the original announcement.
Fair enough. The ones I'm reading, for some reason, that wasn't showing up in the original.
That was definitely because immediately that was the one that was exciting. I recall that.
No, fair enough. I'm just looking at the article with full details of DC's Dark Matter line originally.
Anyway, why are we talking about this? Why does it matter?
Just because I got to that was the one this week, and I got to the end of it, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" Like, I just don't remember it at all.
But we've had this conversation before that you didn't know what this was.
Really?
Yes, we've had this exact conversation. You're like, "Oh, I didn't know what the Unexpected was," and now it's a thing. We've had this conversation at least once before on this show.
Fair enough. This clearly is just the least memorable book ever.
Very possibly, and given Orlando's track record, I'm not exactly looking forward to it. So, but yeah, so for the record, that is now the second time Connor's been like, "What the hell is this book?" So if he does it again, I want everyone to give him shit for it, right? Pay attention.
That's fair.
Anyway, That's No Justice, DC Nation rather. It's the No Justice tease from DC Nation, which concludes the entirety of DC Nation issue 0. So shall we move on, Matt?
Yes.
You look very upset that we spent like 5 minutes on the unexpected. I am actually a little upset that we unexpectedly spent 5 minutes on the unexpected.
I'm just so mad that it ruined Supergirl.
Yeah, I'm upset about that final issue. Yeah, it's upsetting. Book was great before that, but that final issue, god damn it. Alright, let's move on to Batman number 46, Tom King and Tony S. Daniel in this book. Part 2 of The Gift, which turns out it's a 3-part story because 47 is next and then 48 is when we get back to the Joker stuff. So, so basically this issue, Booster has this idea. He's been there for a little while. He's got a beard now. A year, there you go. And
it's the very first panel, 1 year later.
Yeah, I'm not looking at it, to be fair.
It's gone from bad to worse.
Oh,
if you can imagine it.
You can almost imagine from that Hawkeye series, from Fraction, just this looks bad. Right?
Yeah.
I imagine it starting like that. But his plan is to try and like fix Bruce and sort of get him back on side, is that he's going to make sure that he interacts and has, as he puts it, a meet cute with Catwoman. A meet cute, if you're unfamiliar with that term, is basically the scene in a movie, a romantic comedy, where the two characters, the love interests, will kind of stumble into each other, and it'll be like an embarrassing little moment. It's called a meet cute. It's how they met. And he wants to do that for Selina and Bruce. So he breaks Selina out of Arkham, and he's like, okay, got you a meet cute. Oh, do you know what? Actually, this plan's not going to work unless you're in leather. You need the outfit. So he sews together a makeshift Catwoman outfit for Selina to wear. And the whole issue, Bruce is horrified because his father has a heart attack and he's worried that he's going to die, and he's like praying. We see that this Bruce is a religious man. He goes to church and he prays for his father. Please don't kill my father. Make sure he's still with us. They get the good news at the hospital. Him and his mother are happy that he's still alive. And at the end of the issue, Bruce is like, oh, everything's all it can be, father. You're here, mother's here, Alfred's here. All is right in the world. And then Booster jumps in with Selina, and Selina turns out to be a rabid serial killer in this world and kills Alfred.
Yeah, the whole thing is, all she says is meow.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other... So she's clearly, far, far worse than we could have imagined.
Yeah.
She's psychotic.
Catwoman in this world is not cat burglar. It's serial killer who says meow.
Yes. And we end the book. Booster has somehow got both of his parents killed, along with Alfred, and it also looks like Catwoman might be dead as well. They're all lying there. They're all... Yeah,
because Punisher Batman, Dick Grayson, comes in and shoots Catwoman.
And then she takes off his fingertips.
She does. She cuts off his fingertips. Martha gets shot. Martha!
Who? There you go. And Bruce shoots Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's woof.
I feel like the point here is, okay, he's gone through this tragedy now, which is enough to inspire him to go right.
Well, and that was so Booster's whole plan was like, hey, I'll get him with Catwoman. That's all he needs, because that's all Batman. It's love. Love fixes everything.
Oh yeah, dramatically for him motivated to wanting to go back to the way it was, so it's not as bad as this. That makes sense. Yeah. But honestly, the ending of this issue for me, it felt almost like a really bit of black humor where. Yep. Like, Booster screws up so bad that he puts him through an even worse tragedy than he actually suffered originally.
Yeah, instead of just the parents, now it's the parents and
everyone.
Alfred.
It's everyone.
Well, when you look in that room, it's everyone that's actually super close with him.
Yeah, Dick. I mean, even though Dick in this universe isn't close with him, it's still,
Yeah, I only say those because those are the ones that he cares about. He doesn't care about Selina here. He doesn't care about Dick.
No.
He definitely doesn't care about Booster.
Yeah, but thematically, though, here, like, just that is everyone who's closest to him and the real universe, as it were.
No, I agree with that,
yeah.
And then Booster referencing Ted was that bittersweet.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, and Batman wasn't here to help them fight, so Ted died. Oh, and it syncs with him, and then he tries to put that face back on. He goes, that Ted. He starts calling him this Ted, and not the actual Ted. So I thought that was a real nice, poignant moment in this otherwise silly, dark comedy.
It is a dark comedy, it really is. It's like ultra. This is the worst possible alternate universe for Batman ever.
They are in the darkest timeline.
Yeah. Oh man, Bruce should have a mustache. Or goatee, rather. Goatee. He should have a goatee. Yeah. It's the darkest timeline.
Yeah. But I love the stuff with Bruce in the church, because you've never seen that side of him. and it kind of was reminiscent of I'll Become the Bat, but it was a little bit different. So he was giving it up to his religion instead of this quest for vengeance, and his dad ends up being okay, right? Which was the nice swerve, you know.
Yeah. Just the doctor comes out, it's like, maybe we should speak alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, which honestly just adds more to the dark humor of the ending, where everyone gets killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I like too that Thomas is like, yeah, this was all meant to be something else, and I don't know where it went wrong. It's almost as if they have to be sacrificed for Gotham to even be close to, you know, normal, if you can consider anything Gotham normal.
Well, yeah, because Thomas at one point even says how Gotham's supposed to be a paradise, but it's like going to shit, and you know, Arkham's falling, Gotham's falling. Yeah. He's ashamed of what the city's like, and so
he also says, "But us Waynes, we don't fall," which is always the line that sticks from Batman Begins: "When we fall, pick ourselves back up." That's in direct opposition. So I liked all that. I liked the thematic in here. Some of the writing here was just like, I didn't enjoy it as much as the last one, but the content I think was stronger. It's weird. Like, it's one of those, the way that it was assembled, I wasn't a big fan of, but I liked what was there.
Okay. I did have a super. I kind of like Booster being a little unhinged. He's got the beard, and he's been trapped in this awful alternate timeline for like a year now, and he's like, you know, really getting desperate. Talking to Catwoman, so you know, and also just Booster's reaction when Catwoman just starts slicing throats. He's like, "Oh no, this isn't what's supposed to happen."
It's Job interested. I've made a huge mistake.
Yeah, it's basically that. I've made a huge mistake. Yeah. He's the Job of the DCU. Why have I never seen this before?
That's why I love Booster. Now we just gotta find who Buster is. We gotta find a Buster, and then
Buster's. I don't know who is Buster.
All I know is this is making me want to rewatch Arrested Development again.
I need to rewatch.
Well, they just this weekend on Netflix. They put out the recut season 4. So instead of being the individual episode thing that it was, they put it out as just here it is as just 22 traditional styled episodes.
Yeah,
I may have to watch that actually. I never finished the original season 4.
Yeah, it was kind of rough, but I can see them if it's more Arrested Development than that was, you know, with the 22 episodes, then it can be fine. But yeah, it's man, it is. He is the Job, and I think that's why I love Booster so much.
He really is.
He means well. He does mean well, but he can't get out of his own way.
Yeah. Who's the George Michael? Is that Tim Drake? Tim Drake's the George Michael.
Basically. Does that make Stephanie Brown maybe?
She's got a sarky attitude, so yeah, sure, why not?
Who's what was his girlfriend's name? Her.
Oh, that's funny. You can't remember actually.
Yeah, her.
Yeah, her. Yeah. Anne was the girlfriend.
Anne, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, anyways, this is not a Arrested Development podcast.
It's not, but still, it's a good show. You should go check out Arrested Development if you've not seen it. So, where were we? Yeah, Batman. Batman was good. It's a fun trip down a nightmare timeline, and you know it's going to all be fixed at the end, and that's fine.
Yeah. Tony Daniels, Batman Returns, Catwoman suit looked great.
Yeah,
like that pose where you first see her, it's unsettling but also cool at the same time. Like
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that design inherently looks a little bit more psychotic because it's like stitched together and has this kind of like
it's this really makeshift thing. Isn't it?
It has that patchwork quality. Although in this universe, Booster's the one who sewed it together.
Yeah, that's why it's so bad. It's just because he can't sew because Ted did it all for him.
Yeah, so here you go. So that's Batman, and we shall move on then to Action Comics Special #1. This is Dan Jurgens and Will Conrad on the main story. We'll talk about who's in the other backups when we get there. But this is like a finale to the Action Comics run by Dan Jurgens. And it's kind of a standalone story. It's on its own, and it's a story about. I mean, did anyone else guess exactly who this was going to be? Because all issue is teasing also some mysterious villain's figured out who Superman is, and he's threatening Lois because of it.
From like the very first appearance of him.
Yeah,
but
it's he's in the chair and you can see the color scheme, and I'm like, okay, I know who this is.
And
it was either one person or another person. It wasn't likely to be the other.
But here's the thing: when I say guess it, though, did you guess it was Future Lex specifically?
Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
you can tell by the old man
the
wrinkles.
chair, and then you see him as an old man with the mask in that bit. I was like, okay, I know what's going on here.
Yeah, it's old man Lex from the future, and especially when Clark assumes it's Lex, he goes to see present day Lex, and I said, "What are you talking about? I had nothing to do with anything." I'm like, "Yeah, it's because it's future Lex. It's not this one."
My favorite line is, that window. I need to know your insurance because I'm putting in a claim. Just the cold, like, we used to be friends, but now I hate you.
Do you think Lex just has a standing order on windows for that room?
Huh?
He's probably just got a room full of like extras and spares. He just stocks them.
Yeah. But he's like, I'm going to need your insurance information if you have it because you're an alien. Like, oh, man. I also like the line where he goes, the suit doesn't have your emblem on it. For whatever reason. Like, I love that.
I like that when they realise there's someone who knows who they are, they send John to Kara's. Like, go to Kara's because she'll protect you. We'll deal with this.
Yep.
I do have to criticise. I don't know if I'm criticising Superman himself or the art here, but when he's flying with a pizza, you don't hold it.
Oh, God, I was about to bring this up.
You don't hold it that way. All the pizza's doing sliding down.
Just sliding. All that cheese and toppings, they're just gone.
Yeah.
They're just down in the bottom corner. Hold it flat.
Well, all we know it was an extra cheese pizza. So,
Doesn't matter. The cheese still slides when you're holding it vertically like that.
I'm sorry, Matt, but Superman right in this page is an idiot, right? I'm calling him out.
That we see Flash carrying pizzas all the time. And Flash carries them right at super speed.
True.
It's not that hard.
Dear.
True.
Regardless,
it's not very aerodynamic, is it?
This was an okay story. It wasn't like a knock your socks off.
I was
or
kind of disappointed in it because this was Jurgens' last hurrah.
Yeah.
And I want it to be more. And I still feel the Lex resolution's not there. I don't buy the Apocalypse. That's why he turned and went back to being business Lex and not superhero Lex.
I like this Lex. Don't get me wrong. I like everything in this. I actually I like the characterization of Lex. I like his dialogue.
His voice is all right, but the reason for him being this again, they rushed it entirely too fast.
Which, to be fair, it's not on Jurgens. That's on the main Superman book.
Yeah,
he did that.
Yeah. But it's the old Lex stuff. It wasn't, I don't think, particularly well done. So, that's whatever. I did like his new suit though. Like, that was pretty cool. It was very reminiscent of his sister in Superwoman.
Are you talking about the old Lex suit or the old man Lex, the big bulky one? Yeah. Yeah. No, that's just cool. And obviously, present day Lex has got his sleeker model. Not rocking purple and green, actually, has to be said. He's got
it's still the Superman version, but the logo on the front is the purple.
I think it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, I've got to get back to purple and green.
Well, we saw the Lex Luthor guys in Costa Rica, right? In the Bendis story, and they were in the purple and green. So, they're out there. You'd have to think.
Yeah, that's someone else I'm looking forward to Bendis writing. Actually, is Lex. Yep.
But so that story was fine. I like the art. The art looked great. Well, Conrad, it's serviceable. Like, I didn't have too many issues there. His old Lex looked like Dr. Savannah, like just old and decrepit. So
I'll actually be honest. In the full page where you see him properly in the suit when he's been revealed, I actually thought the tubes coming from his nostrils was like a really thin mustache at first.
Okay.
Really?
That's understandable.
Well, I'll rephrase that. It's not that I thought that's what it was, but I thought it looked like that when I first turned it. If that makes sense. I never thought he actually had a long mustache, because why would they give Lex this long mustache? But it just, when I turned the page, it just looked like a long thin mustache to me. But it's more of a trick
I guess
of the eye
that's just because you can't actually see the bit going into the nose. You just see it coming from at that scale.
I liked what Superman tells him, where he goes, you crack time travel, and the first thing your petty mind goes to is revenge. Some things never change, Lex. So I like that he pities him for all of that. Like, you have all this potential, but still you can't get above me existing. So, and then I even like the stuff with this era's Lex. Just like, who was that?
He's like, no, that guy was framing me. I demand to know.
Yeah, but Superman doesn't tell him.
Oh, he'll do that. Yeah. So, but no, it was fine. Like, it wasn't. I kind of wish Jurgens had a better bang to go out on.
Yeah,
That's
it was a solid Superman story. It just wasn't a finale. It wasn't like a big ending swan song. It was just kind of a simple story. But hey,
it was a nice story. Just it's oversold as a special.
Yeah. And then the next story in here is by Mark Russell and Jill Thompson on the art. It's called Suprema Est Lex. Is the title of it.
I loved this story.
So good.
I liked it quite a bit. I had one or two critiques.
Most of my critiques come from the art, and some of the story-wise, some of the stuff they did with Lex doesn't gel with my version of Lex's on the come up.
Yeah, okay,
so,
that's fair.
But that's neither here nor there. So
for me, it was when it got to the roasting stuff, and Lois is doing our speech. I don't know. For some reason, I thought that was really clunkily written and really on the nose and really.
Yeah. So I felt like with the roast, you either have it or you don't. And I felt like Lois, who's this great writer, she's not a great joke writer. You know?
Yeah.
So I felt like it was meant to be clunky, because I don't know if you've ever watched some of these dinners. They are not the best.
Because it was the point where she said... She literally just says outright, because she talked about the president, and I don't know if they're actually joking that this is actually representing Trump or whatever, but...
No, it's definitely supposed to be Obama, because I'll give you the take once you go.
But no, it says, one point she says, oh, didn't you hear about the drone strikes in Somalia? This guy has killed more kids in the Hunger Games. Like, at that point, I'm like, yeah, that's not... Like, you're actually bringing up when children die. That's not funny. Doesn't matter how you phrase that, it's not funny.
No.
But that's very realistic for these events.
Yep.
Maybe I've just not watched enough of these roasts, because I can't tell you.
Yeah, so the White House Correspondents' Dinner it's put together by this press association, and it's a time for the press and the government to play nice with each other, and they can zing each other, just like any other roast. So at the end, the president can come up there, and he gets to zing everybody. And years ago, Trump was invited, and Obama just gave it to him. And Obama was one of the types that he was pretty good at delivering these jokes. And they say that dinner is when Trump decided to run for president, and then I'll show them.
Okay. All right.
So look at this, and Lex just gets raked over the coals by Clark.
Because all the stuff that happens, like the page after's heard terrible jokes when she's giving Clark advice about it, and she's explaining why it's important to roast him and why you should be cracking some severe jokes.
I can't believe this came out this week of all things.
Me too, Connor. Yeah. That's why.
That's why. That's a complete coincidence. It's not like they knew. This was written before that happened.
Because this happens every year, so you can make these jokes and it holds up, right? Yeah. But you do it this year, this week of all times, and it's just so perfect.
So, and Trump hasn't showed up to any because he has such thin skin. He can't handle people making fun of him. Yeah. You know, because he can dish it, but he can't take it. And so the line where they're like, well, only a psychopath can't take jokes and then deliver them back out. And that's, the whole point of this dinner is to prove that our leaders can take criticism.
Yeah, because that's it. Lois says, do you know why the people with power? We expect the people with power to laugh at themselves. It's just to prove that they can, to prove that they're people, essentially.
Almost to a word, one of the podcasts I listened to had made that point. That's this week. Early in the week on the Tuesday show, they had made the same exact point that only a psychopath can't laugh at themselves.
Yeah. And
so the fact, though, that I also like, there's a little bit of. You see all the rest of the Justice League laughing, but you don't see Batman, right?
You see him in the shadows, up in the. He's in the rafters, looking down.
Yeah, but he's not actually laughing. He's just stood there.
But I feel like Batman. I don't feel Batman's a psychopath. I feel he was silently laughing.
Oh right? Yeah, Batman doesn't laugh. Batman smirks when you make a good one.
Not me, but you see Lex get up and leave, and
then you get the moment at the end.
Yeah, obviously the stuff with Lex at the end, because it's making that point that he's got thin skin and that's what convinces him to run for president. I like that stuff. I just wish the actual jokes, because at one point like Clark's like roasting the Justice League and he's like saying, "Oh, I'll go talk to a fish and stuff." I couldn't help but feel that could have been funnier. Like
I think that's the point though, because they are always these really awkward, awful jokes because the people who do these aren't necessarily comedians. They're so they come up and they make these things and it's like.
So that's why
it's the spirit of the joke rather than the joke itself.
Yeah, so when they get the hosts that are like when Colbert did it for Bush, like his jokes stood out because the rest of the people just aren't that great, you know. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed this. Like the art was kind of spotty, but the content I felt like, and I was gonna skip it because I was running short on time. I was running up against recording because I had a busy week.
Well,
And
luckily you'd already read the next story, so you could skip that one.
I skimmed the Manipul art. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, the art's a little weird because we get the little bit of here's all the things of Superman stopping Lex. That Superman looks fantastic.
Yes.
It's the Clark Kent that looks a bit funny.
Clark Kent, some of the flashback stuff. There's stuff in there that I like when he's making fun of Lex, and they've got like footage of him eating a moon pie, eating a victory moon pie. I was like, okay, that's kind of funny. And Lex has got the thin skin and all that. I was just a bit more mixed on it because I didn't necessarily think it flowed quite as well as I was going through it. And like you say, the art was a little bit spotty. So I like the ideas that are in there. I just don't know if I necessarily love the execution in this case. But
I do wonder if on some level is this set up that maybe we'll get President Lex again at some point.
Interesting.
Oh my God, I hope so.
In Bendis' story in DC Nation, that one.
Yeah.
The new character referenced that Clark had written an expose on President Luthor. Now, I don't know if that was just referring to the past when he was president, as if that's still continuity, or if it was maybe hinting is in that as well that we're going to get President Luthor again. But I don't know. Sure. But interesting that both the two books this week have mentioned Luthor being president in some capacity. Yeah. But hey, so no, that was not bad. Obviously, I think Matt. You both liked it a bit more than I did, but I appreciate the ideas. I like the points it was making, if nothing else. So
yeah.
And then the final story, because I swore this was a Max Landis story that had been removed from a previous book. That's what I thought it was before I got to it.
That's what they told us, I'm sure.
And then I got to it, and I was like, wait, this chair thing sounds familiar. I'm like, maybe it's not the same thing, maybe it just sounds familiar. And then I got a few pages in, and I'm like, wait a minute. And I skipped ahead a few to see if is this the one that ends with Superman flying Lois in the car seat? And I'm like,
it's a Christmas story.
I'm like, oh, this is from the Christmas special. What the hell? We read this already.
Yep.
Yeah. What was the special that it got removed from? Because there was one, wasn't there?
There was. I don't think it was Superman specifically, was it? It was like an anthology book.
Unless it was the holiday special, and I think someone just put this online and we read it separately. I don't think it wasn't in the issue.
No, it was in an issue. It wasn't a separate thing.
Then it must have been in an annual. And it got removed from the annual and put in the Christmas issue. Because this was in the Christmas issue.
Yeah, this was definitely in a book. It wasn't like something we read separately.
Okay.
Because I remember it being in like a mix of things.
I got to there and I saw that it was Christmas, and then I see her car wrecked, and I go, "Oh yeah, I've seen this. Okay, I'm just gonna look at the art."
Yeah, we talked about this already in December probably. Yep. So you can go check out our opinions of that.
You got an excuse to look at some Manipul art.
Exactly.
I mean,
I'm never mad at that.
It's weird because I was like, it's a $5 book, but I got 2 stories already, so I can't really be that mad. But it's like, well, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, this last one's only like 10 pages, maybe.
Yeah. So
it is like the Comixology has it listed as like 57 pages. So 50 pages is where the story ends. So you got 40 pages for $5.
Yeah, it's just not bad. Yeah. But
I really enjoyed that second story, and the first one was pretty solid, so I'm okay.
Yeah, I think it was a bad issue overall. I think the first one was a pretty decent, solid story. I think the second one had a lot of good ideas. I wouldn't say I'm over the moon about the issue, but it was. I don't regret buying it or reading it. So,
no.
Have either of you ever had a moon pie?
I don't believe I have. No.
Okay. I mean, it's just basically graham cracker, marshmallow, covered in chocolate. They're pretty decent.
I was going to say I'm not sure I actually know what one is.
Yeah.
A victory.
They're big down south here. They pair them with RC Cola, which I don't know if you guys have ever had, but that was like a thing back years and years ago. Having RC Cola and a moon pie.
I did like that they got Lex for littering.
Yeah. Why? Because you can't do that.
Yeah. Well, that was fun.
Alright, so I think we'll move on then. We'll move on to Green Lanterns number 46. Tim Seeley writing, V. Kenneth Marion on the art. And this is the continuation of Jessica being trapped inside or black hole inside the power ring, reliving the Hunter incident where they caught someone dumping a body and then they get killed. And Simon's now in there trying to get to her and fighting off various iterations of people who have weld the power ring. So yes, and obviously you've got the Justice League and you've got Constantine outside trying to contact them and figuring out what's going on. Superman's ready to go in. He's like, that's been too long, I'm going to go in. And Constantine's like, no, you'll be obliterated into smithereens, don't do it.
Yep.
as much as seeing you be humiliated would amuse me, just stand down.
Yeah. Your judgmental self being humiliated. Yeah.
So so it was basically what you think it would be. Inside the ring, there's a Earth 3 version of Baz who appears to fight Baz.
Yeah, so when on the cover it said Solomon Baz, I was like, yo, did they just mess this up?
That's a mistake.
Simon. And then
I thought that as well.
Yeah, and I was like, no, his name's Simon. Then I started questioning myself going, well, maybe is Simon short for Solomon? Like, is that a weird... And then, no, it got handled. And I like the differences between Solomon and Simon.
Yeah, where Solomon actually was trying to bomb something.
Yeah. Well, he was the getaway driver, and he was supposed to, and then he chickened out. So, so they're similar but different, and he got punished for kind of being a hero, with this ring. And because on Earth 3, that's not how that works. Yeah. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and then you actually get to see the deaths of all of Jessica's friends. You see it all happen. After, and what I kind of like that we've been seeing hints of the actual moment where we see they see the people in the distance burying the body. We've been seeing those shadowy figures, like, so in this issue, like we get them seeing like a hint of it, but you don't actually get to see like the full scene of them playing out where they're watching the whole thing happen.
Yeah.
It just cuts ahead to when they're back and they're talking about how trying to get away quickly, and Jessica is actually going to be a hero. She's like, no, well, I didn't get a good look at their faces though. If I go back, maybe I can get a glimpse of them and we can actually turn them in. We can get a good look at them and then maybe help catch them. She actually wants to be kind of brave and go and try and get some justice for whoever they've killed. And unfortunately, before it goes anywhere, that's when they start getting shot.
Some gunshots start appearing.
And her friends just start dropping like flies, and she's left there. But
run, Jess, run.
There's a run, Jess, run, which I always... Anytime we can get a run, Barry, run play on words, I'm all for it. And we end the issue with her. She's kind of becoming the Power Ring version of herself, because she's sort of dark deep down in her own psyche. And Baz is kind of realizing, what this is, like, and how she's like sort of trapped all these memories in here. And it's kind of like how... Volthoom and the Power Ring and all that stuff, and now she's kind of the soul that's attached to it, and it's kind of feeding off of her. So clearly, this is kind of what this arc's building up to, is maybe like, finally removing that, and she can be free of all that stuff.
Yep. I like too that this arc has seeded her anxiety from the time she was a kid, and her girlfriend, I forget her name, but it's the redheaded girl. Yeah. She was the one that would talk her down. So you kind of see that after this, she loses all of her friends. And she has nobody to help pick her back up. Yeah. And then, so now you have Simon, and now Simon's that person that can help pick her up. So I like just all the symbolism at play here.
Yeah, it's all good characterization for her, and I think it's nice to finally be getting the spotlight on Nick, because obviously for so long we've heard about this incident and her being shut in for years. So it's nice to finally get this, and it makes sense that the person who was there to sort of pick her up when she did fall down, she was one of the ones who died, so she was just left without that. On top of the turmoil of the experience itself, the person who's usually there to like sort of prop her back up is gone. So she was just languishing.
Yeah. Oh man. And then the whole thing that they can't, like, if she sees their face, she becomes basically, that new void. That keeps the whole realm of Volthoom around. So that we can't let her do that. So now there's this tragedy at play where she can never know the faces that killed her friends.
Yeah, she has to kind of accept that she doesn't need to know, essentially.
Yeah. I doubt that's the way they're going to go. I feel like Simon's going to find out, right? There's some machination, and then he'll help her get through it. That's where I hope it goes.
Yeah, if Simon sees them, can they report that and catch them and get justice? Okay. And she never has to see them to have it happen. That's kind of like a loophole of it.
Yep.
I don't know why, but for some reason I just thought of how annoying Simon would probably be if he, like, if someone kept suggesting they should play Simon Says. For some reason, that just popped out of my head there as you were talking.
Okay.
46 issues, and now you decide to have that.
I'm just imagining like someone saying Simon Says in a sentence and then realizing what they just said. I don't know. What do you want from me? I think of dumb puns. Look, it's happened. We can move on with our lives. It's fine. Green Lanterns is pretty solid. Is kind of the point we're getting at. In this, and art was fine. It wasn't the standout art. Marion's solid.
It's pretty much the standard level I expect on this book. The style and quality.
Yeah, obviously there's the occasional artist who goes a little bit, a bit more above and beyond. But Marion's solid. Nothing wrong with it. So that's Green Lanterns. That'll take us on to Nightwing 44. This is a biggie actually, because this is it's moved to single shipping, and this is the issue. Of course, it's the start of Benjamin Percy's run, who of course we loved him in Green Arrow for nearly 40 issues. So this is exciting. We get Christopher Mooneyham on the art, and on the art actually, the first thing I thought after a couple of pages of this was like, damn, this feels really 90s, and not in a bad way.
I think the whole premise is super 90s.
Yeah.
Oh sure, yeah.
Like the whole, oh my god, this fear of technology, essentially.
But this is the thing, even before it got to the plot though, when it was just that first couple of pages of him walking through Bloodhaven, and he's talking about the city, and he's talking about himself, like, in the art and the way his face is drawn, everything about it just felt 90s. And then you get to the plot, and it's like, all that stuff as well. So
he feels a bit bigger, doesn't he? He's got a big jaw going on, and he feels a bit broader than usual. I mean, he's not, because he's usually quite athletic, right? Because he's the acrobat, but he feels a bit broader than usual here.
Yeah. And I think it's just artist style. Everyone feels a bit broad, to be honest.
Yeah, so that's also... I did not enjoy this art.
No? Don't like the art?
No, I'm not a fan. It's very reminiscent of me of JRJR. And it works in certain things, and in others it doesn't. Like, normally I would love that conversation between him and... Barbara? Yeah. And I like a lot of what they do. The layouts are fantastic.
I will critique one thing though. I'll critique that page. We talk a lot about the 9-panel grid. This was like a 20-panel grid. I'll critique that's too many.
Yeah, it's 16.
Yes, it's way too many. But I like the callback, not the callbacks, but the shot comparisons. So like they're not parallel each other, but they match each other. So when it does a close-up of him, it's a close-up of her.
Oh yeah, it's movie making rules, shot and reverse shot. You always match the two people. So if you get a close-up of one, you have the close-up of the other, and so on. Yeah.
It's just it's kind of a clunky page though, because there's
just so much.
They're not moving that much. They're not that expressive. I think the art's pretty good in action, and it's got a good mood to it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the conversation like this, it kind of just grinds
all the stuff on the train when the light goes out and Nightwing changes into his costume, I thought all that looked great. I was into all that stuff. I can see the comparison to JRJR. I prefer it to JRJR though.
It's definitely inspired by that style, that era, though.
You definitely get that feeling to it, and I think the faces are probably the weakest part. But I think the action is where it kind of shines. Like I say, that stuff in the subway where it shoots up.
I think it's really got some strong use of blacks and really scratchy inks to play up the.
I like that. The colouring is probably my favourite part of it. Actually, is how the blue pops on the black and all that stuff. So, no, I love that Bab's going to be a supporting character in this. I like their conversation. I did appreciate the joke that she says he's like an old man because he doesn't like technology. And he corrects us, I'm actually 78 years old. Which is funny because Dick Grayson is actually 78 years old.
Percy. I love it.
If you track it back to when his first appearance was in Batman something or other. I can't remember what issue it was.
4.
It was early on. It may have been Detective Comics, whatever issue it was. But it was early. It was like a year or two into
Detective
Batman's.
34. I'm just throwing numbers out. I don't know.
He's like, that's 7 after the first appearance. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Why not? So that was a fun joke. And do you know what? I love that Dick actually called her out on her name being an old woman's name, because Barbara is an old woman's name.
Yeah.
So, points. Points to Percy for hitting the key points that no one else seems to. So, digging all that.
Well, one of my favorite touches in the art is actually from I don't know if it counts as art or lettering when it's the sound effects. But when he's doing his workout in the makeshift gym in the junkyard, and he drops the tire weights, and there's the big boom on the floor where he drops them. I thought that was a really nice touch.
I feel like that'll probably be the art rather than the lettering.
Yeah. So it's in there. That said, I know how heavy an axle and tires are, and like that's like strongman competition stuff.
It is. He's got like 3 huge tires on there.
Let's tone it down there, Dick. Like, you're an acrobat. You need to be long and lean. Like, you ain't Mark Henry out there lifting the Atlas axle.
But it's fine, because I assume with all the cyborg tech that we're getting into, he can just appear bulky. And inside, he is still an actor.
Yeah, so I thought that was, like... This is very reminiscent of Percy's first arc on Green Arrow, where it was about the drones. And the flying people.
Yeah, because this one, all on the fact that, of course, someone was exploding cell phones on the subway.
Yeah.
We have this tech. It's called Phantasm. If there's no jokes related to the movie, I'll be disappointed. Percy, make sure they come. But it's basically a hologram projection for like rooms, so they can look better. And like fill out fantasy, because when Dick gets a hold of one, because he gets a call or he hears about a crime scene, then Svoboda's still here, so we've still got the supporting cast in some capacity.
Oh my god! And Percy comparing her to Bullock.
Yeah.
There's a guy named Harvey. Have you ever met Harvey Bullock? You ever heard of him? I think you guys would make great friends. That was pretty great.
But he steals this Phantasm tech, and when he turns it on in his place, it turns into Wayne Manor, because it's like this nostalgia mode, and like Alfred's there to offer him some tea or whatever it is, and it's like, okay, alright, I can see what it's doing. And we end with this cliffhanger where the controller actually turns into like a little robot spider and like drills its way into him, so we're getting ultra sci-fi next issue, I think.
That look where, okay, the thing goes into him and then his eyes will light up, I was like, okay, this is 90s as shit.
It's very 90s.
Yeah, so his cyborg dude that came to lift with him, definitely involved in something, right?
Definitely involved, He's clients this dude who's got like a cyborg guy and like an arm. He's got a
robotic
arm,
I do like the comparison back to Percy's first arc on Green Arrow, though, because that was, the drones, it was more about establishing that this person will commit a crime, so we should just take them in now, before they do it. Whereas this is, it's again that fear of technology and the evolution of it. But it's like, this is instead of, okay, how's it making everyone really insular? And as a society, how's it making everyone focus on their own thing and their own phone instead of communicating with people in a different way?
Yeah. Well, I like how he goes to get the sandwich from that shop, and then the guy who shows him the technology, it's just like, oh, okay, no one's gonna eat the sandwich. Like, so that was a fun moment. Like, Percy's already establishing his comedic stuff too.
Also,
while he's
props to Dick for admitting that he works out the way he does so he can eat like a pig. I fully approve of that mentality.
Also, his real hatred of technology, the fact that there's no phone booths for him to change anymore.
Oh yeah, I love that complaint. Yeah. Yes, they do. Yes, the lights go off in the subways. Okay, the lights are out. I can change. I can just quickly change it.
He's got the tearaway stripper pants.
Tearaway stripper pants. That's it.
It's really well written. I wish I liked the art more. The art really took me out though. So, but it's just a personal preference. I don't necessarily think it's bad art. It's just not for me.
I think I was into it because it fit the 90s vibe the story was going for, and it should be consistent because it is monthly now, so we'll come back next month.
I like the tone and the action. I'm not a big fan of the faces. It is especially notable on that page with all of it, but the lips are kind of a mess. But it's there throughout. But even Svoboda at the end, like huge lips all of a sudden.
Yeah, they're very exaggerated. I think the art does have a style though where it's very consistent with itself, if that makes sense. Where I don't like the lips necessarily, but it feels consistent and like it always seems to be this type of exaggerated. So but I'm into the overall style of it. All the action looks great, and I'm excited for what Percy's got planned for what will hopefully be a long run and not another. Oh, by the way, this is only one arc after half the arc's done.
Yeah, I like
think
Percy
they
a lot.
too much to be that.
Yeah, so hopefully this is a nice long run. And it's funny because you compare it to JRJR, and interestingly, the variant cover is by JRJR, and it's one of the best things he's drawn in a while because it's mostly in darkness,
kind of fantastic.
So it kind of fits his style because it's hiding the weaknesses almost.
Yeah, because the only bit of the face you can really see is the eye mask.
Yeah, So it fits his style, and it's one of it's one of these new naked variants where there's very little info on the cover.
They call them Virgin variants.
Virgin variants, because of the
That's
alliteration.
at the very least, that's what I saw Gerard's referring to it as.
Yeah, it's gonna mess with my collection getting my Wonder Woman ones now, because the Wonder Woman variants are gonna.
But they're gonna look so nice when you frame them.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna frame them. They're gonna go into a pull box. Unless they get signed.
Why would he frame the Robinson issues of Wonder Woman?
The cover. You frame.
Yeah, but he knows what's inside it. It'll still hurt him.
Yeah, like the only way I'm getting.
You're never gonna want to read it again.
No, but I'm also, if I take it to Robinson, that's one thing I'm not gonna have him sign. But if Jenny Frisian's at a con, I'm gonna take him and get him signed. And that's the only way they're gonna get framed.
Take it out of the frame.
No, they're going into the pull box. Actually, they're going into a stack next to my dresser because I needed more pull boxes. Because that's how many. I have a problem. Starting to get to the end of, do I need these physically? Like, I gotta overcome.
I've just got them like stacked under my desk at the minute, and I'm just like, okay, how much longer till I'm running out of foot room?
Yep.
I've got them stacked on here, right here.
All right.
That was me moving a tablet at the screen for anyone who's listening to this.
What's
Alright.
next?
Yeah, Nightwing was very good though, just to wrap that up. I'm excited for the rest of the run. On to Green Arrow number 40. That's the book that Percy used to write. This is the second part of the two-parter fill-in from Collin, Kelly and Jackson Lanzing, with Marcio Takara on the art. The kids controlling this country, and this issue has the kid resistance to the evil kids, and Oliver ends up working with them.
I'll say this issue is better.
It's better than the last one, yeah.
Better. Like, it opens with Oliver's out cold. He's walking around the base and he hears them. He's like, okay, I hear a voice. Gets an arrow. Someone replies, 2 arrows. And someone, third voice, 3 arrows. And he goes in with just like 4 arrows. Mm-hmm. And you've got them all inspired by the Justice League, these kids.
Yeah, honestly, my favourite part is when he was joking how he was comparing them like to each other. Because the main guy's like, I'm this. In my language, that means hope. And then Oliver goes, hey, it's not the first time I've heard that. And that was a cute little thing. And then this other guy's he's like, oh, you must be the Batman. And the guy's like, oh, go away, leave me alone. Yep, you're definitely Batman.
Yeah. And then there's a nice callback to that later when the kids attack Oliver, because he's like, I can't let you go through with all this. Come on, we're not murdering a kid. Batman, so to speak, is going, right, well, come on then, I'll take you out. And Oliver just swats him aside. He's like, hey, if you're going to be Batman, don't tell me when you're going to attack.
Yeah, there was some fun little things there. Overall, it was just okay. This two-parter wasn't exactly like amazing or anything. And I think this issue was easier to read than the last one, because the last one was very tedious and very dense, whereas this one, I think, was had a bit more flow to it.
Had a bit more going on, a bit more action. Because it was kids. It was a bit more fun of that sort of thing, with at least.
Ultimately, though, it kind of wrapped up, and I was like, okay, that was a fill-in. Like, this was inconsequential to anything.
So it's like, okay, that's done. We can never mention this again.
And don't get me wrong, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good enough that I'm like, oh, that's a great fill-in that you have to read that one or that two-parter. On its own, it justified being something you want to seek out. It isn't really. It's just kind of okay.
Those do exist, like that one issue fill-in. That 2 issues, that you go check that out.
Yeah, that Nightwing one from last month.
Yeah, the one in the back in Detective Comics. I think that was Percy, right?
Yeah, Percy and Jean-Pierre Leon, I think, was the artist.
Yeah, that 2 issues in the airport. That was fantastic.
Yeah, Matt didn't read this issue, by the way, just in case you're wondering why he's been so quiet. Is that because you disliked the last one so much?
No, I forgot to pick it up, and I just I was busy this week. And
I thought you were making a statement, and no, you just forgot to pick it up. Okay.
No, I forgot to pick it up. Well. Yeah, so I would have read it, but I also just ran out of time. I had a very busy week, so.
I don't think you missed much. It's fine, but it's not like.
It's like I say, it's better than the last issue, but it's nothing special. You're fine.
Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot to add about it, really. It's just kind of what it is.
Me either.
What's weird is we have the annual coming up at the end of the month, which is the Benson, so it's kind of the first part of their run. And then we have 2 months of fill-ins again before their run actually starts, which is kind of bizarre.
Good Lord, I hate when they do that.
Yeah, so I don't know why they're doing that.
Push the annual. Just push it.
Yeah.
Just push it.
I think it depends how much it is, or if it depends if the annual was written as before they even knew they were having a run. you know, they went, oh, hey, do you want to do an annual? They did, and then DC kind of looked at it and went, hey, you know, we like what you've done here. Do you want to do the run? So, you know, it could be this completely disconnected. It could be just, oh, this is a one-shot.
Yeah, it could be a one-shot, but, I mean, either way, it'll give us a nice sense of maybe how they're going to handle characters. So that'll be exciting. That's the end of the month. Annual number 2, I believe that is. So we'll move on to Deathstroke number 31, our last book of the week. Not a lot of books this week, as we said, but Matt's mic's gone. Deathstroke 31, Christopher Priest writing and Carlo Pagulayan on the art. This is the second part of Deathstroke versus Batman, and as Batman said last time, he is going to interfere and stop Deathstroke from Deathstroking, so he actually blows his plane out of the sky. No, knowing, of course, that him and Wintergreen will survive because they're good at what they do. They'll be fine. But he takes them out. So much so that Wintergreen actually phones Alfred and says, "Hey, your boy blew us out of the sky, Al. Do you want to...
what's going on here? I thought we were handling this."
Yeah, let's fix this, eh? That's you know, we're the old men who fix things.
I love this idea of, you know, the two elder partners of them just going,
well, it's their
come on,
dads.
let's slap the kids into line.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And Deathstroke's, you know, he gets off the plane, he goes fighting, and he ends up, Talia is there at the end, and she kisses him and says, "Oh, we need to talk about your son," or our son, or whatever she phrases it.
I think she says your son, because obviously that leaves it ambiguous enough.
Yeah. Which I think kind of says to me that Talia is the one manipulating all this to try and make him, like, make Bruce and think.
Yeah.
So it's not real, but she's the one who's behind it, because she's got an agenda, because she's Talia, and she's up to something. So that would be my guess. Meanwhile, Batman is investigating this stolen tech, so the new phone. It's a fake iPhone, whatever they're calling it in the comics, and it's like Wayne Tech. And because Gordon comes and talks to him about it, he goes as Bruce Wayne to kind of make a money deal to this guy who stole it and find out where it went. And it turns out that Adeline's behind it all.
Yeah.
Presumably just in an effort to get Batman out of hiding.
Yeah, because it's framed as if it's the Russians stealing these secrets, and then it turns out that was just a false trail all along. Yeah,
just Adeline. It's just because Deathstroke's always a family affair, and here we go.
Yeah, I like that it is a little bit disconnected though. Like Adeline's stealing it on, like, you know, it's like, well, you know, we kind of need to know this stuff, which is, you know, Bruce Wayne is you know, unaccounted for as far as they're concerned. They don't know exactly where he falls down.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, we've got to do our job, keep an eye on him.
Yeah. So. That was basically true. I didn't like it as much as the first part of this arc, because I think the first part was just, it had more of a flow to it. The action kind of like, it went from this like smaller build up to this big set piece, and I really had a lot of fun with that. This one felt more like a typical Deathstroke issue, and not in a bad way.
I did enjoy every individual scene though.
Oh yeah, I did too.
And I tell you something I really like is the paralleling between the sons.
Yep.
You know, where you have them talking to the camera about their fathers.
Yeah. But it's not Damien though, right? That was Dick.
No, that's Dick, yeah.
Yeah, it's Dick Robin, who's like, talking about Batman,
Yeah.
But, you know, just the idea is, you know, how they're, you know, they're actually, you know, like really similar and stuff, you know, and it's just highlighting that. But I like the framing device of using the sons to tell it, and then you've got the fathers with Alfred and Wintergreen. It makes it feel like there's this two dysfunctional families.
How do you feel, Matt?
No, I liked it a lot. I'm more with Pete that it felt like a more traditional issue of Deathstroke and not like this series within a series, even though it's mainly focused on Batman here too.
Yeah, the only thing I noticed that made it feel like he was at least acknowledging some people probably jumped on last issue is he made a point of trying to explain the Wintergreen voice and the suit.
Yeah.
Like, he explained that a little bit.
The kind of running joke of, all right, Billy, what's going on? And, you know, both of them answering.
But, yeah. Not you, the other one. And Wintergreen just, I can't with this guy.
Yeah, the real Wintergreen's just like, what are you talking about? What do you mean?
Yeah.
It's fine, robot Wintergreen.
Yeah. It's like, okay.
But no, I like that. I'm curious to see where it goes, because I always wonder how, if he's the greatest assassin in the world, how does that sit with Talia and Ross? Because they run the League of Assassins, you know? So I like that they're running into each other now. Yeah. And again, with Adeline Kane, we've seen how she interacts with Superman. Now I am curious to see how she interacts with Batman.
Yeah, and of course, Deathstroke just showed up in the Silencer, and that assassin business.
Oh.
So there's stuff going on there. Deathstroke's all over the place. Although, best Deathstroke might be Teen Titans Go to the Movies Deathstroke from that trailer this week. I'm not going to lie.
I keep being told I need to watch it.
You do.
So.
Oh, Matt. There are digs.
Maybe when I'm done.
There's digs at the current movies in it, and there's There's digs at Marvel, there's digs at everything. It's great.
Pulling no punches.
You're pulling no punches.
Good.
I do agree that it feels like a more typical issue of Deathstroke, but that for me is okay because I'm enjoying the series anyway. Yeah. So it's like, hey,
yeah, it didn't feel like the series within the series like the last one did, where it felt like, oh no, this could have been a miniseries.
Yeah,
this is like, oh no, this is more of what I'm used to.
I felt like I think it was fine for us because we were all reading the series anyway.
Yeah.
But I think this issue to me felt like if someone did jump on just for Batman vs Deathstroke, and then that last issue felt very kind of like of a lot more straightforward, big fighting, big set piece with Batman and Deathstroke. This one I feel like might lose a few people because it feels more like I don't know, it's sort of slipping back into just part of the series again.
So I appreciate that it kind of it eased them into it with last issue. It didn't just drop anyone in the deep end.
No.
And as we say here, this did a good job of only talking about things that were relevant, and even then those things were kind of explained relatively naturally as well for anyone who had just jumped on.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But no, solid. Looking forward to seeing where the art goes. But that is Deathstroke, which does actually wrap up the last book, which means we're on to picking our favourites of the week: best panel / moment, best art, best cover, and of course top 5 books of the week. That's what we're going to do now. Connor, best panel / moment.
I'm going to go with the page from DC Nation of the Joker just staring after he tells the stamp joke.
I thought you might have picked that.
Yeah. That one of him just waiting for the laughter. That cracked me up and is terrifying.
Joker telling dad jokes. I love it. Matt.
Mine's also from DC Nation, but it's from the Bendis story. And it's Superman coming off the roof in that classic. And he has the arm up pose and whatnot. It just looks great. Plus, it's Garcia-Lopez.
It's a great page.
What's funny is I'm also going with DC Nation, but bizarrely I'm going with the story that no one said yet. And while I think it's the weakest part of the book overall, those last 2 pages are really good, and I think that last page is great. I love Kara being the optimist. I love Oliver being the pessimist, and then just the oh shit, those giant celestial beings. Like, and plus Jimenez's art is phenomenal. So
great.
That was a weak artist in that book. That was a
No. When we're doing the top 5 in a minute, are we splitting the stories up?
That's a really good question. I hadn't thought of that.
That would change my ranking significantly as to how things would appear.
Well, it depends. What do you think is easier? Is it easier to say DC Nation's a thing on its own, or would you rather split them up?
I mean, you gotta split them up for art because they're 3,
You split them up for art, but I mean for top 5, just as a whole. Are you saying, no, this is...
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'd split them up because I have different feelings on all of them, but...
Do you know what? I'm going to say no, we don't split them up for top 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have to consider how you feel about the thing as a whole, I guess.
Okay.
Because I feel that's more of a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, best cover of the week as I go to look at them very quickly.
Yeah, this is how I don't think there's any standout covers for me this week.
Yeah,
maybe the Nightwing variant, maybe the Deathstroke variant.
The Batman variant's not bad as well, actually.
That's.
Nice. Okay.
Batman variant's pretty good. So
yeah,
Green Arrow cover's not bad either.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's beat up face. I feel like I feel weird picking this because I never pick anything with JRJR, but the Nightwing variant's probably winning for me.
Yeah, it is very nice.
It's a very nice variant.
Yeah, that's the one that they put out to announce these, Virgin variants.
Yeah.
So it's a nice one.
There you go. Yeah, I'll take the Naked Nightwing cover.
Of course you will.
I love Dick. What do you want from me?
You love Naked Dick.
I love Dick Grayson. You shut up, Matt. What are you picking?
Let me check the other. Oh, there was none. I think I'm going with Batman variant. I just saw it now, and I've seen if there's an action variant. There's not. So, yeah, Batman.
There you go. Connor.
Yeah, I'm just I'll double down on the action, the Batman variant.
Okay. All right. So, best art of the week then.
This one's difficult.
This one's different, and this one, of course, you split up DC Nation because each of them is a different artist. Yep. So I think you have to.
The question:
yeah,
does Manapul count?
I wouldn't, because that story's not original.
I wouldn't count that. I think you obviously get Mann for the Batman story from Nation. You got Garcia-Lopez from the Superman story. You got Jimenez from the No Justice story, and then obviously you've got Daniel and Batman and so on and so forth. Honestly, it's between Mann and Jimenez for me, and I'm struggling. I'm struggling really hard to decide which. Matt, what are you picking?
So mine was between Garcia-Lopez and Daniel, and I love Garcia-Lopez, but the story's, it's a smaller story. But I really love Daniel's art in this. Just Booster looking unhinged, the Catwoman suit, the old Thomas Wayne didn't look anything like Flashpoint, which would have been easy to do. He looks so. I think I'm gonna leave it to Batman.
All right, cool, Connor.
So it's interesting because those are the two that I was considering as well. But I think Garcia-Lopez only really has that one page to really shine, right?
I mean, it's full of what you would expect. That's the whole thing.
Yeah. But in terms of just showcase for the art, there's that one page. But so I think ultimately I'm going to agree with Daniel for Batman. I think there's a lot more variety and skill like that.
Yeah, I think I want to go with Jimenez for the No Justice, because I think it surprised me if I forgot, because obviously I've seen him on Superboys and he's very good in that. But seeing him do like the opening page with Batman and he's like all shadows and it's like, oh, where's the Justice League? And he sort of smirks and says, which one? And then you got the ending. Of course, I picked that as my moment of the week and all the rest of it.
Some great silhouette panels as well.
Yeah, I love the colouring in his stuff as well. I'm not off the top of my head, I'm not sure who that is, but it's really, really nice. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Jimenez. I think that's the one that. So, not that I forgot he was good, but it's the one that I was like, oh yeah, like he's great. I forgot he was this great as I was reading it. So I got a nice surprise out of it.
Solos is Alejandro Sanchez.
There you go. I like your stuff. So no, I'm almost glad he's doing more issues of Justice League than not, even though Chung's great as well. But
definitely.
I'm pleased and excited. So top 5 books of the week then. I'll go to Connor first.
Okay, taking them all as a whole, I'll go Batman at 1, then Nightwing, Deathstroke, Action Comics, then DC Nation.
All right, Matt.
Oh man, mine's DC Nation number 1. Number 2 is Batman. 3 is Action Special. 4 is Green Lanterns, and 5 is Deathstroke.
Cool. My number 1 is DC Nation. My number 2 is Nightwing. My number 3 is Batman. My number 4 is Green Lanterns. My number 5 is Action Special. There you go. So a nice mix of answers there. Shut up. Me and Matt both love DC Nation, but I like Nightwing more than he like Nightwing and so on.
I love this time of year because it reminds me of when I first got back into comics. Like events going on, like there's No Justice, and then Man of Steel, the Batman, like there's stuff going on.
Yeah, a lot of big stuff.
So
So no, all of it's kicking off. This is kind of the premiere of this like phase of events and things that are happening.
This kind of feels like, okay, this is the start of the year now, right?
Yeah, start of the comic year. The comic year starts at the start of the summer, and for lack of a better term, that's May as far as the industry's concerned, even though it's still spring. So that's cool. So we got big things. No Justice number 1's next week, so no doubts we'll have big thoughts about that. Looking forward to the Brainiac shenanigans and everything else.
Also, more importantly, that is Manapul. So
that is Manapul. Yes. So you can look forward to that next week. But what else is next week? So next week we got Justice League No Justice number 1. We have the Superman special number 1. So that's the wrap up of the Tomasi and Gleason. So they're getting their big one shot. We have Detective Comics 980. We have Wonder Woman 46. We have The Flash 46. We have Mr. Miracle number 9. We have New Superman and Justice League of China number 23. We have Sideways number 4. I'll be checking that out for sure. We do have the Immortal Men number 2, but we're all kind of not really sure if we're going to jump back on for that. I'm not sure. Do we have any feelings one way or the other?
I'm going to check it out, but if you guys don't want to talk about it, we can skip. I don't mind.
No, I mean I'm all for checking it out. If I know one of you guys are for sure, I'm more inclined to check it out and talk about it.
If this one is kind of a whiff, I'm not going further.
Yeah.
but
I'm just having a glance out. I'm not seeing the Superman special.
Yeah, Superman's not on there. I was waiting for him to finish.
Oh,
but then
is that moved? Okay.
Yeah, he gave us a nice pause.
All right, there you go. Is that moved to week 3 then?
I don't know.
No idea. We can't go that far ahead on here yet.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I'll double check that later. Okay, so no Superman special next week. That's okay. Also out next week, but not being discussed, is actually Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps 44 is out next week as well, for the record.
Yep.
Yeah. And did you mention Batman White Knight?
Nope, White Knight's out.
Oh, I should get moved because it was originally this week.
Yeah.
And it got pushed.
Yeah. It's the final issue.
White Knight.
Oh man, next week's bigger than I thought it was.
White Knight. Wonder Woman, unfortunately.
Yeah. I said that, to be fair, Matt. Come on now.
I know.
So, alright, okay, so that's what you got next week. Also out is Red Hood and the Outlaws number 22. Connor won't be talking about that issue, but he will be talking about Red Hood and the Outlaws next week. Suicide Squad 41's out. Also, Batgirl and the Birds of Prey number 22, which I think is the last of the run, so I might catch up and talk about the ending.
Yep, final issue.
Who is Oracle Revisited? So.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, final issue.
So if I have time, I'll catch up and read that. There's actually a lot of books next week, though, so we'll see how it goes. But so big week, big stuff happening, and of course whatnot. And before we go, I think it's worth first of all, obviously me and Connor had our monthly episode for Patreon. We mentioned it last week, but it's just worth bringing up again. We did Green Lantern Earth 1. Volume 1.
Yeah.
The vote up for next month.
The vote's up for next month, because next month's a vote, so there's 4 options. And the theme for the vote, because we just had Action 1000, because Man of Steel starting at the end of the month, the theme of the vote is Superman origin stories. So the 4 options are all Superman origin stories, and you get to pick which one you want us to talk about. So you get Birthright, For All Seasons, Man of Steel by John Byrne, and of course Secret Origin are the 4 things
we thought that might be a fun gimmick.
I thought that was funny because there's enough good origin stories from Superman you can pick 4 of them for a vote.
Yeah.
So if my power rankings are Birthright, Secret Origin, For All Seasons, John Byrne, Man of Steel. So
I sure. I'd have to reread 1 or 2 of them before I did that.
That said, Birthright's 12 issues, and the rest of them are 6 and below.
Yeah.
So take that into account, guys. Before you stick them with Birthright.
What, 4, but they're prestige.
Yeah, 4 prestige. So it's basically 8. Yeah.
But yeah, it's Tim Sale though, and so you have a lot of
just
big spreads. Yeah. So it's a quick read. Secret Origin 6. That was a really fantastic Legion Superheroes issue. And then Byrne's Man of Steel's
a very dense 6.
It's dense, but it's not actually. I read it not too long ago. It's actually not that hard to get through. It's obviously dated a little bit, but it still works quite well for what it is.
It's not awful. It's fine.
Yeah. It's my least favorite Superman origin of those listed. So,
but there was a time when that was your choice because the other 3 didn't exist yet. It's the oldest.
Yeah, I know. So. And if that was the case, I'd go to pre-crisis Man of Steel, where they didn't get rid of the Legion of Superheroes and there's no birthing matrix. He was a baby on a rocket.
Alright, Matt's better.
Still bitter about that, isn't he?
Matt's bitter about the changes that happened after Crisis. It's only been 30 years.
34, who's counting? But whatever.
Has it been 34? It wasn't 1984, was it?
I just did it. Yeah. It was 1984, 85.
Yeah.
Wait. Yeah. Crisis was 85. Anyways.
Anyway, Matt derailed my plugging, because I was going to tell you something new that's happening on Patreon that comics fans can enjoy. So I tried a new thing. I called it a pilot episode of a thing that I'm going to do for patrons. Well, I basically just started. I'll probably continue this next week. People seem to like it, but it's basically an audio-only thing where I'm going to work through a run and just do like a solo thing on each issue. And the first one went up.
Ravings of a Madman.
Ravings of sure, yeah. I could have called it that. I think the temp title right now is Fuzzing the Multiverse, I think I called it, because that was just the first thing that came to mind. But I mean, the title's up for debate. I mean, like I say, it's a pilot. It's a pilot.
I'm gonna call this Exhibit A. So when he cracks, this is what they go to.
But no. So I sat down. I'd read New Teen Titans #1 from the Wolfman and Perez run, and I talked about it. It ended up being 30 minutes, which I didn't think it was going to go. I mean, admittedly, the first 5 or so minutes was me explaining the concept of the show, but so
who's this orange girl with the curly hair? I don't recognize her.
I'll just let
you gotta make jokes at your own expense, or people think you're a psychopath.
Hey, it was funny when you first started doing it. I've heard them about 100 times though. They've just lost the pizzazz.
a lot of New Teen Titans. I can't not let it go.
Yeah.
I didn't bring it up at all. No Justice.
That is true. We never really talked about it in No Justice, but yeah. Which, by the way,
save it for next week.
The one thing is though, we never mentioned Superman throwing Starro at the bad guys. That was the thing that happened.
I love it. Starbro,
who just laughed, I believe, as he was being thrown, which was kind of funny. But anyway, so this is the thing. It'll be something. The first one is free. If you want to go over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, the first one is just there for free. You can check it out. But this will be something that's probably added to the $5 tier for next week, and it'll be an exclusive thing for patrons. I'm toying with the idea of making, because the idea is to do 3 a week. I'm toying with the idea of making one of them be something that actually does go up for everyone eventually, maybe after a delay, but the other 2 will remain exclusive to Patreon. So you can go over and check it out.
Episode.
And you can see, check it out, and you can, obviously, Teen Titans will be one of them. The other 2 will be different series. But I thought it was an excuse for me to work through some old runs, and I thought, oh, this will be fun to do. And the feedback so far has been positive, so let me know what you think in the comments. And it's a way of giving some folk in Patreon a bit more exclusive content, something else as a bonus. So by all means, go check it out. But yeah, so that has been episode 102 of Comics from the Multiverse. And we'll be back next week with No Justice #1. Super exciting, big things happening. And that is us. So, as always, like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Get us on the Twitters at DC Comics Podcast. Matt, where can they find you on Twitter if they want you individually?
Yeah, at ManOfSteel57. It's been quiet lately, but, you know.
Connor, where can they find you?
At Conrad94.
You can find me at Wibble89 if you want to find me on Twitters. But otherwise, that is us. So, yeah, all the usual things. Support the show. We love you loads and everything else. Keep reading comics. And always remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.